Whoa. That's what I wanted to do. Steve, hang on a minute. Let me move the camera. This is a casual night here, chat. Hold on a second.
You can see him.
There we go. There we go. How you doing, chat? You are live with the T-Monster. Just making sure that everybody can hear us. We can hear you, right, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can. So, we're just chilling out right now. It's a very, very chill night because, man, woo, we survived MAGFest, chat. That was a crazy, crazy time. Good times, though. We're going to talk about that right now. So, everybody, if you're new to this stream, if you're new to what's going on here, this is just a real, just a serious chill out right now. When you tune in tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Time, this is all going to look very different. It's going to be closer to this, but instead of these two cameras capturing Steve and myself talking, or even this one, this is just going to be me and my mouse and keyboard, and I'm going to be teaching myself mouse and keyboard on Destiny 2. Right now, I'm here with Steve Saylor, the Blind Gamer. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people about who you are.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm blind, and I play video games. I do a series on YouTube called Blind Gamer at youtube.com/snowball, and I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/blindgamersteve. And it basically, I suck at video games, and it's more funny to watch me fail than it is for me to actually do well. And I am also a accessibility consultant. I've consulted with Ubisoft, and that's my kind of big one right now. And then there's a few others I'm kind of working on at the moment. But I get to work on all the new video games and make them as accessible as possible.
The other thing too, chat, is that if Steve seems familiar to you and you listen to our podcast, and I'm just going to put the podcast up there as well. Steve was recently a guest on Happy Hour from the Tower. That's over at happyhourfromthetower.com.
Where's
and
the bell?
The bell's over there.
Oh.
The bell's over there. Is next to. Thank you.
There
Kat.
it is.
God love you, baby. Real quick, I wanted to show this off. This was the Stein I was telling you about that I got.
Yes,
from
you showed. Yeah, you showed
Glass.
that. Yeah. I
Enjoy.
would have bought one of those, but I don't think that it would have survived customs.
No, you would have made this a carry-on. But honestly,
Yeah.
this
Carry
thing,
on with Bia.
this thing is sturdy. I mean, this is a good. And it turns out that Fanboy Glass are still making these Destiny tumblers and beer mugs and all that stuff, but they're not going to be taking them with them to different events because Destiny 2 is kind of going. It's been out long enough that the push for Destiny 2 stuff is not that big in demand.
Yeah.
So, but Fanboy Glass has plenty of other stuff. They got all kinds of Star Trek stuff and that was where I first found Fanboy Glass was at MAGFest actually. So anyway, so the other thing that may be familiar to you with Steve is that Steve is part of my Titan Tuesday lineup, the Blind Leading the Blind. Steve approached me and said, "Hey T, I want you to guide me through Destiny 2." And I went, "Hang on a minute. You want me, a mediocre, at best, mediocre player of Destiny, to guide you through Destiny 2? Dude, that's the Blind Leading the Blind." He's like, "That's what we'll call it." And before the end of the day, we had like show graphics and everything written up. So Steve, that's
20 years of Photoshop experience. You gotta use it at some point. Yeah,
that'll do it. So today we hit MAGFest. So and how Steve got down here was that Steve and I were chatting one day, and I don't even know how MAGFest came up, but it came up in conversation. And I said, "Dude, you go to MAGFest?" And he's like, "Yeah, I go all the time." And I said, "Well, shoot, why don't you come here?" And I think Steve's something like, "Yeah, it's just too expensive, getting the hotel room and all this stuff." And I said, "Dude, come and stay with us. I go to MAGFest all the time." So Steve flew down, and we were supposed to meet up with the Kellys. Hey, how you doing, Pink Phoenix? How you doing, Shelly? Good to see you. Good to see you. GG's. Yeah, GG's, girl. But we were talking about MAGFest, and it was well, that's what we're here to talk about. We're gonna go into detail about MAGFest. We're also gonna talk about being old fart nerds. Yeah. and what an event like MAGFest does to us. So I guess we should back up. So yesterday we went to, and we actually talked about it this morning. Yesterday we went to MAGFest just to get the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. Was this the MAGFest you remember it being, Steve?
I would say in scope, definitely. I think the only thing that I missed out this time around, yesterday and today, was a lot of the concerts that were happening.
Oh yeah,
at MAGFest.
that's all happening tonight.
Yeah, essentially that happens like that's the thing about MAGFest is it's a very 24/7 con. There's always something happening all the time. Like we even like looked up like when registration was going to open on the Friday so we can go pick it up. I looked it up. It's like registration is 24/7. It starts Thursday at 10 a.m. and doesn't close until Sunday at 3 p.m. So I think registration is going to be open. And I would say like I've been going to MAGFest I've been for like 3 years with my friends, and that's kind of where I met a lot of the friends. And one of the friends that you had met that I was able to introduce you to, I met at MAGFest the very first time, and it was an absolute blast. Like I will say, the community of MAGFest is so amazing, and there are definitely some, as every community has, there are definitely some kind of dark spots, but there's like majority of them, like to kind of as an example, there's parties kind of pretty much like if you're staying at the hotel, there's parties happening all the time in all the rooms, and it's so open that essentially like if you open up your door and you have the latch kind of open so that anyone could just kind of walk in.
Anyone who goes to a con knows what that is. It's that thing where you take the latch, you block the door, and you just it's that thing.
Yeah.
That happens a lot at MAGFest, and I think if you ever think about going to MAGFest and you want to see this stuff at night, you either want to be in the Gaylord or you want to be in a hotel that's close by. And there's at least 2 or 3 hotels close by. I know there's at least a Courtyard and a Residence Inn right across from the Gaylord.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Gaylord's a beautiful hotel. It's a
absolutely
gorgeous hotel.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can't stumble, I mean, we were basically driving between Manassas and DC. So yeah, I mean, there was no way we were going to be able to be there for the later.
And that's totally fine. Like honestly, it's like for me, MAGFest is a time to be able to hang out with friends. It's like the con is fantastic. But for me, it's always been a time for me to be able to hang out and just to have fun with friends. And I'd say like one of my favorite con stories, and I've told you this, Steve, but I love telling this story. So it was like one of those party nights, and we were just like we had ended up in this pretty large suite. One of the headliner bands was like it was their suite, and we were just kind of in there, and we were just sitting around. We were kind of chatting. It was kind of nearing the end of the night-ish, but it was still kind of like people were still partying it up. Then all of a sudden, the door bursts open. A big, huge dude with long, flowing hair kind of comes in, and he's holding a giant mug, and he says, "I am Thor, drink from my mead." And no one could leave the room without having to take a shot of this mead. It was honey moonshine, and it was probably some of the best alcohol I ever had. And he partied up with us, and then he was like, as soon as everyone had a drink, he got up, walked out, and then he went to the next room and did the exact same thing again. And I'm like, that
guy's got
like,
a shtick.
Yeah, and I was like, that can only happen at MAGFest.
Yeah. So MAGFest stands for Music, Art, and Gaming Festival. So there are bands that headline there. You got artists of all kinds there, and then you've got, of course, gaming.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go ahead and kick off some of the reviews. So like yesterday, we met some friends of yours, and they are the ones responsible for a game called Mighty Fight Federation.
Yeah.
So how would you describe Mighty Fight Federation?
So it's a mix of like I'd almost say like Street Fighter, but it's kind of a bit of a brawler mixed with like if you old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where basically you are these kind of characters and you're having to be able to fight it out to the finish. And it's a tournament style kind of game, and it's actually run by some friends of mine up in Canada, and they actually had at MAGFest this year. This is the first time they got to show it off. They actually had made a massive championship
belt. I don't know why I didn't take a picture of it, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was, and it looks very much like a WWE like wrestling belt. Like that's kind of, you're like wrestling and you like robots and you like sci-fi and you like demons fighting robots. This could be the game for you. And that's I think they said it's going to be coming out this year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure.
And unlike Street Fighter, where you're working on just a 2-dimensional scale, it's a little bit like a game my kid got for the Nintendo Switch, where it actually works in 3rd dimension.
Yes.
So you can go back and forth. So our game mode, we were in a gym in hell, and you actually saw demigorgons and you saw demons on treadmills in the background.
Yeah.
And they were doing their exercises. Like you would see at Orange Fitness or something.
Yeah.
And then there was me, and there was Steve. Now Steve's character was like a swole, demonic werewolf kind of character.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, I think he wore a T-shirt, like a really super tight T-shirt said "No soul, all swole."
Yep.
And then there was my character, and I was the Killbot 9000.
Yeah.
And man, it was fun.
Yeah, and they actually had
fun game.
And they had it like at MAGFest, like you can be able to sign up to be in a tournament, and
Right.
the winner of this tournament would be able to keep the Mighty Five Federation belt.
Yeah, this beautiful belt that they had designed.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you go to that Twitter Twitter URL that I just dropped into chat, you'll be able to see it. So then we went to Galacanine.
Yes.
Galacanine Games, Entertainment Software. We met Cassie. She is the game designer for this fantastic game called Mecha Puppers.
Yeah.
So Mecha Puppers is a turn-based combat game, very similar. And I think I finally remember the name of the turn-based game that I was playing on my iPad, but I still pull it out on occasion. It's called Highborn, and it's basically D&D. Provided if D&D this particular game was written by people who were like massive nerds.
Yeah.
And I mean more nerdy than usual D&D.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking they would be cracking jokes of be quoting Monty Python. That happens in this game. It's a ridiculously fun game, Highborn, and that's what mecha puppers are. It's a grid, and you're moving against other mechas. So it's set in the future, and you're basically a puppy that has a mech, and you're going up against an unknown enemy, and the unknown enemy, you find out later in the game, is wearing a paper corgi mask and looks a lot like a cat. It's a ridiculously fun game, and that was. It was run by Cassie, and who was the other friend of yours?
His name is JP. So there's the two of them.
So it's JP and Cassie.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's going to MAGFest tomorrow, you're gonna want to meet Cassie. She's really with it.
Yeah.
Really super talented game designer, and Mecha Puppies was just a delight to play. I'm sorry, I take it back. I didn't play it. Serena played it.
Yes.
And it was kind of cool because at one point her mech was facing off with her enemy, and she had armed her mech with missiles.
Yep.
And they fired, and they went way off to the left. And I was going to say, oh honey, you missed, you didn't target that properly. And suddenly I see these missiles all turn around, and I'm like, oh, they're heat seekers. Okay then.
Yep.
They're sidewinders. Fine. And
I think it's like the best way we could describe it is if you've ever played XCOM or any of those like RPG tactics kind of games. It's like it's that, but with puppies and corgis, and it's absolutely
and puppy
hilarious.
corgis,
Yeah.
and so and corgi puppies.
Yeah.
So that was really a good time. And then came the game, and that's the thing I would describe this particular MAGFest. This particular MAGFest, I spent more time playing independent games than I did playing like any of the cabinet games or looking at like some of the hardcore tabletops of the LAN games.
And we did have fun in the old school arcade.
Oh, we did.
Too.
We did have fun in the old school arcade.
Yeah.
But man, of Shevitz, the indie games were bringing a really strong. Now there were some games we played that we were like, okay, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
This was not one of them. This was Gossamer Games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the stream from this afternoon, you saw us spending a lot of time at Gossamer Games booth.
Yes.
But Gossamer Games, and this was Thomas that we were talking to, Thomas Sharp, right here. That's definitely a style right there. That's definitely a style.
I love it.
Hang on a minute. Taser text. So you're going by the T-Monster now, nerd. Haha, what's up, douchebag? It's Tanner from high school. Remember me? Me and the guys used to give you a hard time in school. Sorry you were just an easy target. I can see not much has changed. Remember Sarah, the girl you had a crush on? We're married now. I make over $200K a year and drive a Mustang GT. I guess some things never change, huh, loser? Nice catching up with you. Lol, pathetic.
Hello, troll.
Okay. It's Saturday night on Twitch.
Yeah, I guess.
It's Saturday night
Whatever.
on Twitch. Okay, so first off, Taser. I didn't know anybody named Tanner in high school. if a guy named Tanner in high school was at my high school, I guarantee you, you'd be getting wedgies in the boys' room pretty much on a daily basis because only douchebags get names like Tanner. Secondly, if you're making $200K a year and driving a Mustang GT, sorry about the small penis, bro. And in closing, Sarah. Okay, Sarah in high school. Do I remember Sarah in high school? I remember a lot of Sarahs in high school. So, I realized just giving you this much attention. By the way, how you doing, Owen? Good to see you, man. Giving you this much attention on my Twitch stream, I know that means you're probably got your pants around your ankles and you're slapping the ham. And good on you, man. Good on you, Taser. But here's the thing. You came to the wrong stream, my friend, because I wrote this little book, and it's this book. See, Twitch for Dummies. I recommend this book for you because if you know anything about Twitch for Dummies, or if you know anything about Twitch, you know that I can go into Twitch right now. I'm doing great right now, man. I got a turbo troll in my chat room. I can actually go on and look you up. I can look you up, Taser TX, and let's find out about GT driving Taser TX, because I know I am fascinated by this.
What type of content is this?
What type of content is this douche nozzle doing? Well, he's offline. Shocker that. This guy is pro troll. So let's do this. Let's go and wow, he's following 76 people. Isn't he a special somebody? Let's see. Where are you? Let me see. Because I know he's up here somewhere. I think, is it here? No, it's not there. It's here. There we go. There we go. What's the problem? It's in a live stream. Next. He's just harassing, and for harassing, next, and he's a special kind of nerd. I love doing this. Submit report. Let's block him. And good night. You know, just saying, if you knew that sort of thing.
Some guy named Tanner from high school.
Yeah, Tanner from high school, man. You know Tanner. I've told you about Tanner before. I've told you about. Man, you taking it too seriously. It's just a meme. Well, now it's a blocked meme. So
yeah, great.
Suck it, Tanner. Wow. I mean, if you're gonna make I'm sorry, but if you're gonna make a first impression on somebody, and you want to introduce yourself to a stream, that's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it.
No.
It's a meme.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to Gossamer Games. I know, Owen. Isn't it just darling? It's darling. So let me talk a little bit about Gossamer Games, and let me talk about this experience. So we stumbled across this game on Friday. And we did not stop talking about this game all
Pretty
day.
much sense.
And then we just went by the booth and we parked ourselves. And Thomas didn't mind because we were streaming at the time. And what an astounding game! How would you describe Soul?
So Soul, I think we can both agree, was very much like Journey meets Myst, where essentially you are a ball of light. You're the last soul in this world, in this very dark world, and you are going through this world, and you're basically illuminating the world and eliminating the shadow and the darkness.
You're returning light to the world.
Returning light to the world, and it's very much a chill game. It's like if you loved Journey, and I've been told by Thomas, he said it's a very short 2.5, maybe 3 hour game you can finish in one setting. It's a very chill, Wonderful game. The soundtrack is absolutely gorgeous. You're basically going around and you are finding you're finding out about more about the world via the visual storytelling that it gives. You're collecting glyphs that essentially help you to learn the language that you see kind of interspersed throughout the entire world.
And
the
it
more
unlocks doors going to other levels.
Yeah,
and, things like that.
and the more glyphs you unlock, the more you can actually be able to understand the language and read a little bit more of the story of this world. And you can like you come across like you can actually grow trees based on just you're moving past it.
It was. This is that game where if you've had a bad day at school or at your job or something like that, and you say, you know what, I want to decompress, but I don't want to shoot people.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't want to shoot people. I just want to lose myself. I mean, yeah, and these are the kind of games like Candy Crush, which I don't get Candy Crush. Maybe that's the old fart in me talking.
Right.
But I don't get the whole monotonous. I mean, there's monotony in games, and then there's games that just kind of put you into a zen frame of mind, and that's what Soul did.
Yeah.
What was really cool too, I mean, to kind of give you an idea of the atmosphere of Soul, if you go off the edge,
yes,
you basically fall, and then when you hit the ground, obviously you don't take any damage.
Yeah.
But when you do, light just goes.
Yes.
And it just spreads out like water and it dissipates into the air. It's very basic, but also just breathtaking at the same time.
And it's also, as someone that, who works in accessibility, it's a very accessible game because the only mechanic is just movement. Like, there's no jumping mechanic, there's no attacking, there's nothing. It's literally just moving around.
And then
there
are altars in the game that reveal these hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
These pictures that tell the story of what happened here.
Yeah.
And it's just a delightful zen kind of game, and it's being released this spring, and I cannot impress upon you. Visit them on Twitter. They have a Twitch stream. They stream on Fridays.
Yep.
Pay them a visit. Steve and I are going to try to talk to them about doing some kind of promotion / rollout, because we want to help people know about this game. While we were streaming, several people were going, I want to play this game.
They were actually impressed by Serena playing it. They're like, this little girl's like
that was the other thing too.
Doing really well.
I sat down and said, Serena, would you like to play? And she's like, no, that's okay. So I'm playing, and then Serena said, can I try? I passed it over to her, and I just watched her face just kind of glaze over in a cool way, you know, and it was just really a very very cool experience.
Yeah, I think I did find out for Thomas. You can be able to pre-order it on their website right now. I think it's like $10. You can actually download a demo of it right now. He did say it's an older build than what we played today, but it's still like it's the first level that you can be able to play. He said it's going to be coming out on Mac and PC and on Steam. They are going to launch on Xbox. They are trying to be able to get onto Nintendo Switch, but because they're a brand new studio and this is their first game that they've ever worked on, they're having a bit of trouble trying to be able to get it from Nintendo. But hopefully with Xbox and with PC, if it's on Steam, if there's enough people playing it, they'll be able to get it on the Switch soon. But it's an absolutely gorgeous game.
So we're kind of melding Friday and Saturday together, and but today we I was very fortunate. So I got to do a quick shout out to a buddy of mine. He's one of those guys that I really feel like I should see more of him. He's that kind of friend. We tend to cross paths a lot at conventions. He's just a good guy. His name is Robert V. Aldrich. You can find him online. touchthesky.net or .com, I believe, is his blog. And he's constantly putting up blog posts about where he's going to be. He's putting up a short fiction. He just released from Touch the Sky a collection of short stories that he wrote in a year. So he's a prolific guy. I really dig him. He invited me to come on a panel with him. This is where I'm going to turn it over to Steve, or I'll let Steve lead the conversation about what he thought of the panel and things like that. But we were talking about interpreting video game mechanics for literature. Like how, if we're writing stories set in our favorite games or our favorite IPs, how do we write that? So what were your thoughts on that panel? I mean,
for me, I'll say like a former writer.
You're never a former writer, my friend. You're never a former writer. You just take a sabbatical now.
Sure. I thought it was fascinating because, of course, like a lot of us, I think we're fans of probably a video game franchise that you just cannot talk enough about, and you're considering going into fan fiction for that particular game, or at least writing a story set in that game. They really kind of broke it down as far as being able to sort of how to be able to describe something that you would like a game mechanic. It's like, okay, you hit A to jump and like to move forward, and it's like, how do you describe that in a literary way, in a story that people are actually going to enjoy. And it was really cool. Like, basically they said, like, I think it was Robert that said that all the rules of literature still apply, but all the rules can also be broken.
Right.
Which was
and he was also
kind of picked up on.
And I also like the way Robert put it, where Rob said, yeah, there are people that will break the rules. They will constantly break the rules.
Yeah.
But that is why they are the masters of literature. Don't use them as touchstones. Don't use them as well. So and so did it. Yeah, they did it because they know the craft.
Mm-hmm.
And we reviewed both Show Don't Tell and As You Know Bob as cautionary pitfalls that people can sometimes fall into.
Yep.
And that was fun. That was a really, really fun panel. I honestly said I'm not going to have a lot to talk about because all I've got experience-wise, all I've got is I've got the fan fiction that I've done for Destiny, which I'm currently podcasting on Happy Hour for the Tower, and then I've got my current work in progress, Dope, where it's set in the eSports industry, and I'm basically taking game mechanics and I'm interpreting them as action in the book. So it's less about, she hit X twice and I gave her a double jump, things like that. I've got to actually describe that feeling, the exhilaration you feel when stuff like that happens.
And that was one thing you guys brought up, was that it's not about you, like, and you use examples like you going into a dark room and it's just dark. It's like, how do you feel, and when you're in a game, it's like, how do you feel in that moment? Well, there's usually the music is probably has an effect. It's sort of like how the environment, you kind of feel like, okay, is something really going to jump out at me as I'm about to be, it's like you describe how you're feeling in that moment more than just, oh, I'm in a dark room.
Right, and so that was a lot of fun to. Any chance I get to panel, I'm going to jump at it. So when Robert invited me into the panel, I was like, absolutely, I'll do that at MAGFest because it's just a fun thing to do. It's a fun thing to do, and I felt a little intimidated, if not humbled. At the end of the panel, a group of people like gathered around me, and I was just talking, and I'm sitting there going, is this really happening? And then Robert just comes over and he's got this smirk on his face. He's like, you're such a rock star. And I said, yeah, now I'm going to go to my entourage. She backtalks me. So my entourage backtalks me. So F that. So then I got this. I love this postcard. I'm going to go ahead and hold that up. And if you can't see what it reads, it says, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. This is the WMGSO, the Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra. And these guys are based out of Rockville, Maryland, and they do 2 shows a year. And I actually went on ahead to support these guys. I bought their CD. They've got both digital and hard copies of their work, and I got a chance to listen to them. They are also on Twitch. The WMGSO. These guys are also on Twitch. But if you want to look them up, they are the Washington. Actually, I can go ahead and throw up a website real quick. That's HTTP / WMGSO.org. You can go ahead and check those guys out. Really nice people, and I put in there. They actually it was very cool. They had a spiral notebook, and they were taking requests from people, and no one had requested the music from Destiny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys have got to do some music from Destiny.
Yeah. And actually, it was the arranger of the music.
Yeah, the arranger was there.
Yeah, he's like, I haven't had a chance to arrange it, so if anyone knows, like, if you know anyone who arranges Destiny music for orchestra, or if there's a songbook somewhere of the Destiny soundtrack, I think that they should definitely...
I'd be surprised if there wasn't. But, I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some real... And the thing is, they take requests. So if you give them a request in about a year and a half, they'll have that music done, which means they'll probably be into D3 by that time.
Probably, yeah.
But some of the tracks on their CD include "The Battle Begins" from Heroes of the Storm. I'm just jumping around here. "Crystals of Ivalice" from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. "Zelda's Lullaby" from The Legend of Zelda's A Link to the Past. "Jib Jig" from Donkey Kong Country 2.
I remember that. That stood out to me on that soundtrack. I'm like, I've got to give this a listen for sure.
The Anthem from the Final Fantasy series, and finally, "Sogno di Volare" from Civilization 6.
Have you heard the Civilization soundtrack?
Oh, I've got some of it on my.
Oh my god!
On my Spotify.
I absolutely adore that soundtrack. I played the game and I tried it. I'm not super great at it. Yeah, I bought it for the Switch and unfortunately I had to return it. It was just kind of too big of a game for me to be able to play accessibility wise. But the first thing that struck me was the soundtrack. It was so good.
I've got a couple of tracks from Civilization.
Yeah.
On my music to game by playlist on Spotify, and it's some really cool stuff.
The one specifically from Civilization 6 is really good.
There's one from I can't remember the name of it, but it's their African soundtrack.
Oh yes.
Gorgeous singer.
Yep.
Oh, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
So just real quick, All Rich. That's Rob's. That's right. I'm sorry. It's not Touch the Sky. It's teachthesky.com. That is Rob Aldrich's website. I suggest you head out there and take a look at his stuff. Now the thing about Rob, just real quick side note on Rob Aldrich. Not only, like I said, good guy, but the other thing about Rob is that he has actually been involved with MAGFest. He's been affiliated with, whether it's paneling or just having a table or something. He's been involved with them since year one.
I would I think I remember he looked familiar as soon as he walked out to. I was like, I've seen this guy before, and it's probably
he's been involved since year one. And on top of all that, along with being involved since year one, I think because he's been involved since year one, they have given him a table. So and that's
awesome.
That's some primo space right there.
Yeah, a little bit.
So he's just a good guy, good people. And then of course we started going around and we started doing some networking.
Yep.
Because when you're authors, when you're gamers, when you're streamers, you're always looking for a place to promote your work. It's something that you should do. And because I've got Twitch for Dummies coming out, which for anybody late to the stream, not aware of this is my latest book in progress. Well, not latest book in progress.
It's coming out in 2 weeks.
It's coming out in 2 weeks. There we go. That's the game that we were talking about, Soul. And it's coming out spring 2019. So Twitch for Dummies. And it's coming out in less than 2 weeks, and I couldn't be happier with it. These are advanced copies. Steve already got a copy.
Yeah, it's sitting upstairs in my bag. I'm ready to read it.
There you go. So you're always. So I'm actively looking for events. I know that Steve's going to get me some information for an event that's happening in Toronto.
In Hamilton, which is just outside of Toronto.
Close enough. It's in the Greater Ontario area.
Yes, yeah. If anyone's in the Southern Ontario area, I highly recommend it. It's a con I absolutely love and adore. It's called Con Bravo. It's very much like MAGFest. It's a community-run con. Not as big as MAGFest. It's only a couple thousand people that come to this thing every year. But it is if you're into gaming, if you're into cosplay, if you're into streaming, you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you're into pretty much anything and everything in regards to the internet. Con Bravo is a really great and also safe place to go to. And if you're in the Hamilton area, I highly recommend it. It's every July at the end of July, and it's like right downtown Hamilton, Ontario, which is about 45 minutes outside of Toronto itself, and it's absolutely a great con to go to.
So, I said, well, I want to take advantage of this, and I want to do some networking, and I've already applied to speak at this event, but we went on ahead and paid a visit to AwesomeCon. AwesomeCon is a well, I wouldn't say it's a MAGFest but they get the same draw as MAGFest.
Mm-hmm.
They get several thousand people to this event. I want to say MAGFest numbers are somewhere between the 10 and 20,000, correct?
I think it's pushing close to the 20,000 mark. I think.
Yeah. And AwesomeCon's about the same. It happens at the Washington Convention Center. They've got a really big dealer's room area, the vendor room, similar to what you saw on the stream earlier this afternoon. Which, by the way, if you go to my my channel and you go into the previous videos, you'll see the stream that I did earlier today.
You realize we streamed on Twitch 3 times today?
Yeah, I know, man. I know. And they were and I think the first morning stream was just sort of just like, hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
Real chill start. And then there was the AwesomeCon. There was the MAGFest stream where
Yeah.
we were just walking around
Yeah.
and I mean I'm doing all that from my phone.
Yeah.
I'm doing all that from my phone.
I need to
streaming
start doing
from
that
my
more.
phone.
Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous, but man, it was cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
And what really broke my heart, apparently there was I don't have my phone with me, but there was a couple, a cosplay couple, and they were doing Hawthorne and Cade.
Yeah.
And we missed it, man.
Yeah.
I was so pissed that we missed it. But anyway, just real quick, the headliners for AwesomeCon 2019. This is happening in April 26th to the 28th. Mike Coulter and John Bernthal. And you know,
Luke Cage and the Punisher.
I know. I mean, that's like a coin toss. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to meet Mike Coulter just to say, dude, you were awesome in Men in Black.
Oh.
He was in Men in Black.
That's right.
3,
That's
and he
right.
Was I mean, and I saw him
forgot
like,
about
hey, it's Luke Cage. I mean, I was so tickled to see him in that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it just seems like a really charming dude. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for weeks after the first Luke Cage, I was just walking around going, "Sweet Christmas." I mean,
Yep.
but Bernthal, I mean, you talk about nailing it.
Mm.
You talk about I just want to be able to go up to Bernthal and go, dude, I remember you from the early days of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I've seen you in other works, and I love what you do, but you redefine the Punisher formula.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always been all right. So let's nerd out a bit about the Punisher. All right, so the thing about the Punisher, he's a killing machine. I mean, that's the way he is portrayed in the comic books. He is a killing machine.
Yeah.
I would never have described Frank Castle as broken. Right? Because I mean, do they? You're more of a comic book guy than I am. Do they really go into that in the comics, or don't
They have in more modern incarnations of the
Right,
Punisher,
right.
but not some like it was very much like he was basically just seen as an anti-hero.
The ultimate anti-hero.
Yeah, and they never really kind of dug into his backstory a lot until
he was
probably
a
the
bit
90s.
like the way I looked at the Punisher was the same way I looked at the main character that Charles Bronson and then eventually Bruce Willis played in. Bruce Willis played in the movie Death Wish.
Yeah,
like, family wiped out. He freaks out, grabs a bunch of guns, and just goes on a killing spree.
It's basically like Punisher. Frank Castle is like it's what would happen if Batman decided I'm just gonna go kill people.
Right. I'm just gonna go for it. Now,
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think they touched on it. They touched on how broken Frank Castle was with Thomas Jane's performance. Because when you look at, I mean, who had played Punisher before Thomas Jane? Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Now, no offense to Dolph Lundgren. He's a funny guy. He's a smart dude. But because he is a big, muscly dude, they basically give him some shitty scripts in my opinion.
Yeah.
But in the Punisher with Thomas Jane, you get hints of how you even see those hints of how broken he is in Dirty Laundry.
Yes.
Because of the nightmare that he has that wakes him up.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
But in the TV show with Bernthal, you really get a deep dive into it, and you haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen the TV show. I mean, I've seen him obviously in Daredevil season 2, And I thought that he was just like fantastic.
Oh, God.
And they still touched on a little bit of kind of what he went through, especially that one. If you haven't seen it, there's minor spoilers, but there's this one scene where Daredevil and Frank Castle are in the
cemetery scene. The cemetery scene.
Cemetery
the goddamn cemetery scene.
I never felt so emotional.
The cemetery scene.
Oh, I never got so emotional on that. Like that was like that made the season for me.
See, everybody thought that the season of The Punisher, when the show came out, everybody thought it was going to be like the prison scene.
Yeah.
Where it's just where it was basically Frank Castle, 5 dudes, and Frank Castle's got a pencil.
Yeah.
And who's left standing? A blood-soaked Frank Castle. And it's other people's blood.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thought that the season with the Punisher was going to be.
Yeah.
But instead, and this is my take on it, picture the cemetery scene stretched across an entire season.
Okay.
It's that emotional content. It's that deep. And I just want to go to Bernthal and have this nerd out in front of him. I mean, it would be worth it just standing in line, paying whatever money they want, just so I can go to Bernthal and go, dude, I studied theater, and nothing could have prepared me for how good The Punisher was. I truly believe it is the best thing that Marvel has ever produced on Netflix. Better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I love me some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But wow. So they're going to be guests there, but we got to meet, I got to meet Becky, who is the program director at AwesomeCon. And she could not have been more gracious. I was unable to speak I was scheduled to speak at AwesomeCon because they were because the event went live the week after I said goodbye to my dad. So I thought I was going to be in a better mental space than what I was, and I was like, no, I'm not. So I just, because the thing is, my dad always had a love for film. He's always loved movies. It was his dream to see me in the movies. And when I started getting into writing and starting to, and obviously I missed my maybe, I don't know, but I missed the opportunity to be on the screen. I said, I basically said, this is what I'm doing now, Dad. I'm writing. It was his dream to see me get a writing credit, so that I could, he could see me in the credits. And unfortunately, he never saw that. But the thing is that it was that love of film. He passed that on to me, I think. That's how I feel. And I think because I was talking about film, I was talking about the soundtrack, and I was talking about all these different things, I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to talk. So I basically told AwesomeCon I can't make it. They were very gracious. And Becky was a delight to meet. And I told her that I was excited. And I showed her Twitch. I was able to show her Twitch for Dummies, and that got her excited. Yeah. So I'm hoping, knock wood, that they're gonna look through all those things, find my stuff, and go, yeah, let's get T in here. The other thing though about AwesomeCon, they had the best swag.
Oh my gosh!
Of any table there. First there were these things. There were these cool enamel. You picked these up, right?
No, I think Serena did.
I know Serena did. So, all right. So here's a question: of the two things, because I don't think it's fair that you didn't get any swag from off. Do you want this or do you want the power pack? It's okay. You can take either one. I will not. If you want to take the power pack, you can.
The power pack is pretty dope. That's the one thing I don't have. I don't have a battery pack.
Take the power pack. It's
yours.
Sure? It's
Are
yours,
you sure?
my friend. It's yours. Take the power pack. So that's what they were giving away. They were giving away these beautiful enamel pins.
And they're heavy duty too. They're not like this cheapo pins.
These are really sharp. They were also giving away AwesomeCon branded power packs. Yeah. 2 USB ports. Yep. And you said that it could power my iPhone 10 twice in one day.
So about a once and a half. So it's a 4,000 milliamp battery, and iPhone 10s have like 2,900 milliamp battery. Yeah. So yeah, it will charge. If on a full charge, it'll charge.
And they were giving them away. They were giving them away. So God love you, AwesomeCon. But that gives you an idea. So like last year, they had a lot of CW people there. I think. I don't think Grant Gustin was there, but I think Stephen Amell was there.
Okay.
And as brooding as Stephen Amell can be on the Arrow, apparently he is an absolute hoot in real life.
Oh no, he is, and I mean,
he's Canadian,
fellow Canadian boy, fellow Toronto boy.
Oh, there you go.
He's a Blue Jay fan through and through.
I remember one of his Throwback Thursdays. He was apparently a drum major. Yep. At his school, and he was in his kilt. He had the big baton. He had the big hat, and I'm just like, damn, that's some bravery right there. But then again, you see how Amell is built. Like he's got like Legos for abs. So so f that dude. Anyway, so some of the other guests that are coming to AwesomeCon, by the way, they have a Star Trek contingent: Brent Spiner, Gates McFadden, Marina Sirtis, Will Wheaton. They've got Carrie Elwes and Wallace Shawn from The Princess Bride. Mm-hmm. They got Michael Biehn and his wife Jennifer Blanc Biehn, and then they've got Val Kilmer, which is kind of cool, and Tim Curry, which I'm kind of shocked about because last I heard Tim Curry was not doing well.
He had a massive heart attack, and he's still in a wheelchair. He's still recovering from it. But I'm wondering if this is like kind of like what they did with Stan Lee. It's like sort of like it's his last farewell tour of cons before he just physically can't do it anymore.
Because the thing I wanted to tell Curry, if I got a chance to meet Curry, I would want to tell him I loved What About Dick.
I remember that was so much fun.
That was a blast for them. They were all set. We are going to try to crack each other up on the stage as much as possible.
Yeah.
And man, Eddie Izzard, the guy who should get an award for that was it was Billy Connolly playing the Scottish detective with the bad lisp. I was like, what the hell? I don't think even he knew what he was saying, but man.
That was written by Eric Idle, right?
And written by Eric Idle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
it was written by Eric Idle.
So good.
So, but some of the other events that I approached. So anybody on chat, if you can tell me about any of these events, give me some 411. Give me the lowdown on some of this stuff. I had stuff in front of me. It's sitting underneath it. Derp. Another one that we were looking at was GDEX. This is the Midwest Premier's Gaming Expo in Columbus, Ohio. And you're right. This is it's a 2-day event, 10/12 and 10/13. Yeah. But they have a Dev Day on 10/11. That might be a good networking opportunity for you.
I think so. Yeah.
And these were really nice people. These were really, really cool people. Again, I showed them Twitch for Dummies. Again, they got excited. So I just have to do a follow-up with these people. And it was Cody. Cody I was talking to.
Yep.
So Cody, that's the guy I got to talk to from here. And they had some pretty. Oh, and the artist for GDEX was there, and she's got some talented chops.
Yeah.
And then there was a Washington event. I'm trying to remember where.
I don't think we got any specific info. I think it was like Gen X or Gen.
Oh, yeah, right. You were close. JexCon.
Okay.
JexCon, and it was JexCon in DC, and they're the same thing. You know, they thought, oh yeah, Twitch for Dummies sounds cool, and they actually do tournaments, and the ones they're advertising are Super Smash Brothers, Rocket League, Counter-Strike, Hearthstone, and League of Legends. Pretty bog standard stuff.
Yeah, there's some pretty decent games right there.
And this is why I had this marked. I had something marked in here about Twitch for Dummies, and we were talking about this today.
Yeah.
One of the other things that was there was one of the other things that they had there was a Shenandoah University. It's a small university based out of Winchester, Virginia. So it's in the Northern Virginia area, about 3 hours from here.
Okay.
2.5, 3 hours. And they not only have their own eSports team, they're trying to get it to become a major.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can actually major in esports, and I cracked a joke about it, and I remember this was when we were home. I didn't crack a joke in front of these guys.
Yeah.
They were super nice guys too, but I think they said something. But I said something like, so if you're getting a degree in esports, how does that work? Do esports trainers say, okay, I'm here to tape up your hard drive? You know, it's like
yeah.
And that's when that's when Steve said, esports is a big business.
There are players that are making 7 figures
Yeah.
a year just playing esports, whether it's StarCraft or League of Legends or Hearthstone
Yeah.
or anything like. I mean, you know a lot of these games like Rocket League, Overwatch, whatever.
Well, that's the thing. So in this book, when I was writing Twitch for Dummies, I was specifically asked, can you have a section in here about esports and about how Twitch has sort of embraced esports, and it shows up in chapter 15 where I say game over Twitch outside of gaming, where people are using Twitch for something other than showing, doing what we're doing right here.
Yep.
Where we're just hanging out, checking in, chatting with you all in real time. And actually, the first section I have is called Game On: The Rise of Esports.
Yeah.
These were just a few stats and these were the stats that I considered. So, okay, in March 2018, the Luxor, this is March of last year,
Yeah.
the Luxor in Las Vegas, Nevada, opened an esports arena, and the folks in the arena were kind enough to let me use their images.
Oh, cool.
In the book, and you can find them on Twitch at twitch.tv esports arena. This stadium. And that's exactly what it is. It is a stadium. 30,000 square foot multi-level arena. Competition stage. 50 foot, not inch, foot. LED, that's the ancient system we're using here for measurement, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know.
50-foot LED video wall. Gaming stations open to visitors through various access passes. And a network TV quality production studio.
Yep.
And you can find all that at esportsarenavegas.com. Paris is considering adding esports in the 2024 Olympics.
I have heard about this. Yeah.
The strategy is to win over younger viewers, getting them hooked on Olympic Games as a whole. The High School Esports League, which, God bless it, if that had been around when I was growing up, I would have been on that like white on rice, man.
Yep.
I tell you what. Is an online league that allows club teams to participate in tournaments. They have registered as of May 2018 15,000 students representing 800 schools nationwide. And then of course the last one, and I actually have the issue out in the man cave. In October 2018, ESPN magazine released the gaming issue with Tyler Ninja Blevins on the cover, hailing him as the biggest gamer in the world. The articles. All the articles, and I didn't respect that when I bought the magazine, but all the articles centered around esports.
Yeah,
that's how big So if anybody says, "Oh, esports is a fad," it's a pretty freaking incredible fad, because let me tell you, it's crazy pants.
So my buddy actually in Toronto, he actually runs not an esports league but an esports tournament. It's called Kings of the North. And it's specifically StarCraft 2 related. So he's a StarCraft
the guy that got me into Twitch.
Yeah,
he used to commentate StarCraft stuff.
Oh,
so,
good,
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, so he does a lot of tournaments up there, and he's had like a pretty huge name sponsors sponsoring his tournaments. He actually just came back a couple months ago from BlizzCon. And he actually got to run one of his events that he normally does. He calls it Pub Crafts, where essentially it's just an event where you're at a pub and it's just for StarCraft players that essentially they're just there to enjoy, like have fun, and they also watch like a tournament. And the president of Blizzard came up to him and said that he's like that they actually like actively advertise. Blizzard actively advertised his tournament, and it's like, and he's just like he is probably one of the definitely up and coming tournaments to be able to watch for in Canada for sure.
Cool.
And yeah, it's like that's how, and that's only like he's been doing it for a long time, but that stuff has only been like ramping up massively just within this past year. So he went from basically running just tournaments to now he's like buddy with the president of Blizzard to build to do his tournaments.
And it's, I mean, that's why I'm writing what I'm writing right now. I'm writing a book set in the esports industry. It's basically a retelling of the fall of Lance Armstrong, but with an all-female esports team. And Pip loves it. Pip loves it. I'm currently editing it. My hopes is that I'm going to find a home for it on the New York stage. We'll see if anything comes of it. But
Sure.
I mean, but it's written. I just gotta tweak and tinker with it. So one of the other places that we the other event that we talked to is Too Many Games, and that's the name of it. Too Many Games. They're at toomanygames.com, and they're based out of Philadelphia, and their featured guests. I only saw the one, but I didn't see the other one. Their featured guests are angry video game nerd.
Oh, James is a great guy.
Okay, so you know that guy.
Yeah.
And epic rap battles of history.
Oh, nice Peter and Epic Lloyd.
I love epic rap battles.
Oh, they're
Epic
so
rap
good.
battles of history!
And they're coming back. I think they got a new one.
Oh, fantastic.
They've got a new season coming
I
out.
love those guys.
They're
And they've gotten
so
some
good.
great people to do some stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
They got Ed Key and Peele
They
show up on there.
a couple of times.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really
they had
cool.
Snoop Dogg in it.
Oh, God, I missed that
It
one.
was Santa Claus versus Moses. And
Oh,
Snoop
jeez.
Dogg played Moses.
Of course he did. Of course he did. So that's a weekend of gaming, marketplace, concerts, tournaments, arcade, tabletop panels, guests, and more. And again, showed them Twitch for Dummies, introduced myself, told them all about me, and I also pushed Steve into the mix a couple of times because I figured, I'm a guy that I don't want to say I'm introducing Steve to Twitch because Steve actually got into Twitch on his own, but Steve and I have been working together on Twitch a lot.
Yeah.
But Steve had already had. I was kind of surprised that Steve gravitated to Twitch because he's more of a YouTube guy. I mean, you've had Blind Gamer for what, 3 years now?
Since February 2015, yeah.
So yeah, it's about coming up on 4 years.
Almost,
now.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been a pretty cool
years.
ride. Like just the fact, because when I started it,
No kidding.
I had no consoles. I actually had I don't think you even noticed. I actually stopped gaming altogether. I just felt like the games that were coming out were just not for me. There were games that I just would get frustrated with, and I would not be able to play just because of my my accessibility. And I was talking to a few of my friends, and I said, it'd be kind of funny if I basically just showed how bad I am at video games. And a buddy of mine who runs a magazine in Toronto called Comics and Gaming Magazine, he said I get review copies of games all the time. I have all the consoles, I have all the capture equipment. Why don't you come to the office and record whatever you want and do whatever? And I was like, okay, cool. And that was my first video was Blind Gamer playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and it was an absolute blast from beginning. Actually, one of my very early episodes was with my friend Cassie, and that started a massive climb pretty much since then. And like that year in September, I just been putting out sporadically videos on it. I thought it was going to be entertaining just for my friends, and it was getting some decent views, but not a lot. It was I had 100 subscribers at the time, and then
100 subscribers is still nothing to sneeze at.
No, but that's been building up.
Yeah.
That was building up over really nothing. That
Right.
wasn't 100 from the Blind Gamer stuff. It was from just whatever I decided to upload to YouTube.
Right.
And and when all of a sudden I come into work and I see all these emails from YouTube, I'm like, oh no, what did I do? And it turns out that a gamer from Greece saw one of my videos and put up a video of his own on his own channel saying, hey, this guy is an unknown talent. You really need to check him out.
Wow.
And he sent all his 40,000 subscribers to my channel, and I gained 1,000 subscribers within 24 hours.
Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And so I was like, all right, that's the thing I want to do from here on out. And then it's been a massive climb ever since. Like I said, I've been consulting with Ubisoft. I was just on Kinda Funny. If anyone knows Greg Miller, I was on Kinda Funny Games Daily in December. December 17th was that episode if you want to check it out.
And now we're not going to jinx it.
No.
But you're in discussions with a second possible accessibility client.
Yeah.
A game developer that will not be named until everything is signed.
Yes.
The ink is dry, and
Yes.
you're like, okay, I'm going here today.
Yeah, and it's definitely for a game that you all know.
Good luck, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, one more, and then we're going to talk, and then we'll probably wrap up with just some feelings about being old fart nerds at being surrounded by incredible young people. Keep in mind, This young whippersnapper here is only 35. I turned 50 a few months ago, so F this guy. Anyway, I want to point out this artist. This artist right here, Sarah Miller. She's at sarahmillercreations.com. sarahmillercreations.com. And that's Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. But Sarah Miller Creations. She did an illustration from My Hero Academia, as my kid was correcting the whole time. My Hero Academia, and my kid bought it, and it's absolutely gorgeous artwork. Some of the artwork that we saw over the weekend was just stunning.
So good.
And that's the thing that I always feel like I'm inspired by when I go to events like this. You know, I realize I push myself hard as a creative because we are all surrounded by really creative people. And when you look at some of these people who are undiscovered as artists, and they're basically they're working hard to get their work out, you go, why are you undiscovered?
Yeah.
You know, it's humbling.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, and it just makes me work harder as a content maker and a content creator. So yeah, was there anything that stood out for you, art-wise or otherwise when you were out there?
There was, but nothing I can really kind of like sort of point out specifically, because like for me, artwork at a con, although absolutely gorgeous, there's some like I can't see until I'm closer up to it.
That's true.
That's tricky for me. So it's like I don't own a lot the artwork from
He
cons.
just takes my word for it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Oh yeah. I know. I can tell it looks good, but I have like sometimes I'm like I have no idea what the heck this thing is supposed to look like. And that's more my fault than the artist itself. But I mean, for me, actually, this year was from the past years I've been, because I've always been like the concerts kind of guy for MAGFest. But this year was definitely the indie games. Like that, I never like indie games when I first started coming to MAGFest. It was literally a squared off area of tables that basically like had like maybe 6 or 7 indie games there. And
there was
now
easily 20.
Now it's
25.
grown to that, and they have like pretty big booths in of themselves. They have like couches and lights and big screen TVs, and it's just like it's a far way they've come since I started seeing indie games at MAGFest, and I just absolutely adore. There's some amazing games there. I can't wait to try.
Buddy of mine who actually tuned in to the stream when we were streaming from the floor, a guy named SK Froy. I'm going to do a quick shout out for Froy. We were sitting there watching. While watching Serena play Soul, and Froy was just like, "I've got to play this game. I cannot. I really want to play this game." And he even went so far as to say, the music alone, if I could get my hands on the music, I could code to that music so easily.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous music. It was just it was really, really fun. I remember my first MAGFest when we went, and there were a lot of independent games, but I want to say maybe 2 grabbed my attention. One was heartbreaking. Oh my God, this one was so heartbreaking. I'm like, oh, and these are the people that are in business. There was this wonderful biologist who had teamed up with a group of devs, and they made this fantastic video game where you were it was basically Fantastic Voyage as a video game with like, I would say if you took Fantastic Voyage, mixed it with Schoolhouse Rock, this would be the end result, because it was teaching you stuff about biology.
Oh, cool!
And you had been miniaturized, and the graphics were great. And I said, and she said, "Yeah, we're doing a Kickstarter." I said, "Oh wow, this is great. When does it start?" She goes, "It ends this week."
Oh.
It ends this weekend, and I'm looking at her like, "And you have no materials on this here?" She had the demo.
Yeah.
But she had no promotional materials. I'm like,
oh, that's heartbreaking.
Just killing me.
Oh.
But this was the first year where I actually felt like I was investing like so much effort that I'm like, I want to talk about these games. I am addicted to these games. Just how much discussion we got out of Soul alone.
Yeah.
Was amazing to me. And then watching Serena get into Mecha Puppers.
Yep.
And meeting Cassie. Cassie was a delight. She was an absolute delight. I mean, really just good people all around. So then we got home, and we both took naps because we're old.
Yeah, and that's I realized actually that's even amongst my friends. That's not even like a recent thing of people just taking naps. And I've seen people that they go up to a room for like a good 20-minute power nap just to kind of last the rest of the con.
Well, that's the thing. I remember. I mean, this is when I was in my 30s.
Yeah. And
I remember being at Dragon Con, my very first Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And I was there with two friends of mine. I was my wingman for that first Dragon Con, and they made it a point. They were like, "We're gonna get you through this first Dragon Con." I'm like, I've been to cons before. It's like, yeah, you've been to cons before, but you've never been to Dragon Con before. Mm. And the biggest event that I think I'd gone up to that point was probably Balticon.
Oh. Which
is several thousand people, but it's not Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And this is when Dragon Con was only across 4 hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to Dragon Con. It's about 40,000 people strong, maybe even 50, but it felt bigger. And the guy that was my wingman, John Smar, he's like your voice, but even deeper. And he said, T, at one point you're going to want to go back to your room. There's nothing wrong with it. Go back to your room. Just sit there for a while. Just gather your thoughts. I was like, okay. And I thought he was like, okay, you're talking ridiculous, but don't worry about it. I got this.
Yeah.
We went to the MythBusters panel. Tori Belleci was there, and Grant and Katie Byron were on the way, but they weren't able to make it because their plane caught on fire or something like that.
Gee, wow.
So it was just Tori. Place was packed.
Yeah. The
people running the science track had no idea what to do because they'd never had anybody pack an auditorium like this.
Wow.
So and at one point we're walking out and I'd already experienced about at that point I'd experienced like half of a first day, or maybe half of my first day, maybe even half of my second day. And at one point I just kind of looked around and I looked lost, and John looked at me and said, "You okay, T?" And I looked at him and I remember feeling a little dizzy. And I said, "I need to go to my room." And he said, "Very well." And he escorted me back to my room. And I just kind of sat in the room for a moment. Oh, well, to put it frankly, Shelley, Dragon Con is now double the size that you and I knew it as. It is at least 80,000. It now stretches across, 7 hotels? Maybe 8?
From what I've heard, yeah. I haven't been back since 2008, so I have no idea.
That was my last one, too.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the last one for us. Yeah,
that was where we first met.
No, I take that back. No. My last one was 2010. Okay. Because, no, I'm sorry. I stand corrected again. 2011 was my last one. And that was because I had been hired by Intersections in 2009, and in January of 2011, we'd made the arrangement. I paid for everything, and then I lost my job.
Right.
And Pip was like, "Do you really want to still go to Dragon Con?" I'm like, "Everything's paid for. I might as well go."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember we weren't staying at any of the con hotels at the time. We were staying at the W.
Okay.
And that's when I fell in love with the W of Atlanta. That's a gorgeous hotel. I started every morning with a swim. It was just great. It was, I felt like I was a rock star. But anyway, 2011 was my last one too, Shelley. And it was already pushing like 50, 60,000. It's now 70 or 80,000, and they added 2 more hotels. And I'm just like, that's ridiculous.
It's too huge.
It's hit critical
It's hit like San Diego Comic-Con almost levels. Like not necessarily in size wise of population going to this, but it's still like it's pretty huge.
There were people in 2011, 2010 that were getting lined up for a Supernatural panel, and the line was going down the road, was going down the sidewalk, and the panel wasn't for like 3 or 4 hours. And I'm like, oh no, forget that that noise. I'll watch it on Dragon Con TV.
Yeah.
But I remember that first Dragon Con, and I just kind of sat in my room. I took a few deep breaths, and then I took a nap. And I'm in my 30s, and I thought maybe I'm getting old for this. But I really think what it is that wee woo, I'm a wizard. Hi, Cameron. And I mean, I do feel like that. It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 35 or you're 50. we were doing a lot of peopling today.
Yeah. Yeah, we were networking. We were like, there was a lot of people. There was sensory overload. And I mean, I'll admit it. It's like I don't think I could be able to do the multi-day cons anymore. I think I could probably do the one, maybe 2 days.
Well, no, I could still do it if I'm staying
at the hotel.
Staying at the hotel, or even within walking distance of the hotel, like
I think
an
so.
easy walk. I will only go back to Dragon Con if I get invited to be a guest. Lol. No, Shelly, that's the way I am about most cons. MAGFest is sort of the exception to the rule for me because I just enjoy going to MAGFest.
Yeah, MAGFest is that for me, and Con Bravo is also that for me. I've been a guest at Con Bravo a couple of times, but it's not like it's an absolute requirement that for me to go. Same thing
with Guardian Con. I'm gonna make the trip to Guardian Con because that was just fun as F. I just had a great time doing it. I got to see a lot of streamers that I watch and that I want to cultivate like actual friendships with. So I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Guardian Con whether I'm on the guest list or not. I would love to speak at Guardian Con. I would love to do that because I just love public speaking. I love being able to do that. And MAGFest, same thing, but like Balticon. I might visit Balticon for a day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go to Balticon for the entire event unless I'm on the guest list.
Yeah.
Same thing with RavenCon. Same thing with PhilCon. I am not going to these events for fun. I'm going to these events because it's a business. And whether or not you think, Shelly, that it is a business or what you do, it is. Because I mean, if you're going to network yourself as a cosplayer or even as a Twitch streamer, these events are networking events for you.
Yep.
I'm not. If these people that we networked with today, if they're not interested in having me or having both of us as guests, I'm not going to go.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much of an effort for the rest to be able to go to financially, whatever, and taking time off. Like it's stuff like that. It's like there has to be kind of worth it, or at least a con that I know friends are going to be at. Like that was a draw for me for Dragon Con when I went, was because of basically of you guys and meeting up all the podcasting friends that I made over the course of that year. So, but yeah, I think you're right. This is mostly for networking. That's kind of where I'm going to go.
And so I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think the biggest problem, and we were talking about it this morning with Dragon Con, is with Dragon Con, it now has become almost a week-long event. Because so let's break it down. Programming now starts Thursday night, and now it starts Thursday afternoon.
Yeah,
and it goes until Monday afternoon. So if you want to be there for Thursday afternoon, or if you get scheduled for Thursday afternoon programming, that means you either got to fly down or drive down Wednesday, so that you can get acclimated, pick up your badge, do everything you need to do, and then Thursday jump in. And then you go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then you got two choices. You can either stick it out all day Monday and leave that night. Good luck, because you're going to be exhausted. Or you wait, sleep it off on Monday. Tuesday morning, you hit the road. Or you get on the plane or what have you. Just trying to get out of the hotels on Monday, it is like rats off the Titanic.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Exactly.
Even like good luck trying to even just get out into the elevator just to get to the lobby.
Exactly.
So.
Granted, one thing that's great though about Dragon Con and the elevators is that the elevators suck, but if you're taking stairs everywhere, man, you got buns tighter than steel.
Yeah.
Tighter than steel by the end of the week. But again, so basically you leave Wednesday, you get back Tuesday. That's a massive commitment, and I just can't justify that kind of commitment.
Same.
I just can't.
Yeah.
It's a little heartbreaking because I know that the organizer of the steampunk track, Dr. Q, he basically says to you, at any time you want to come in, you've got a standing invite to join us, and I appreciate that. But the problem is that it is such a commitment to go to Dragon Con. And at one point, I actually said, I don't have to stay Monday. And then Monday, I found out there was all this stuff that I was missing. And I was like, well, I want to stick around on Monday. And then I found the magic There is something magical though about leaving Tuesday morning, because you watch Dragon Con literally pull a Brigadoon.
Yeah.
And it just disappears.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, this place was full of people. You know?
You actually get to see what the hotel looks like.
And actually order something and not wait for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
So Pink Phoenix, Shelly is asking you and me.
Okay.
We all hitting up TwitchCon this year? Funny you should say that.
we talked about this.
We are talking about it. We are seriously talking about hitting TwitchCon.
Yeah.
The trick is finding out what the dates are.
Yes. They haven't announced what the dates are yet for this year.
They've announced the dates for TwitchCon in Europe.
Yeah. It's
in Berlin and it's in April. The reason why I am going to probably follow up with GDEX in Ohio, but they're saying that their event is between the 11th and 13th of October. I want to wait and see where TwitchCon falls, because their event this year was October 26th to 28th or something like that. So it was in October when they went live, and if they're in October, early November, it may not be a big deal. If they're around this time, then yeah, I'd rather go to TwitchCon than GDEX, but I don't want to commit to GDEX until I find out what the situation is with TwitchCon.
And for me, it's mostly because that around that time, like especially like that weekend from last year, I teach at a local college in Toronto, and that's the time when I have to start teaching. So being able to commit to a weekend away, or because if I was to do that, it's on Thursday is when I teach, so it's kind of a bit iffy with the schedule wise.
I mean, technically,
yeah.
Friday morning you could fly out if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It would just be one of those situations where I would say, okay, if you fly out Friday morning, basically touchdown, and if I'm already there, I've got the room. You just come up and you crash.
That's true.
You know, there's that.
Yeah. We'll see.
One of the nice things about the job that I currently have. It's currently furloughed.
Right.
Is that I can really do it from anywhere. I can be remote.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could fly out Thursday night, and then, Friday morning check in remotely.
Yeah.
And then just work during the day, and then hit TwitchCon that night.
That's true.
Like I said, I'm thinking it through, and I would love to be able to bring Twitch for Dummies. Just to be able to say, just to be able to host the panel, Twitch for Dummies, why your favorite Twitch streamer is not in this book.
That's a good subtitle for that panel.
Because I mean, because you know what it is. It's a lot like it was very much like writing podcasting for Dummies. There were people that said, well, why didn't you feature this guy? Why didn't you feature this guy? And I'm just sitting there going, look, I had a deadline.
Yeah.
There's only so much research I could do, and I felt bad because I was discovering friends of mine that were just starting off on Twitch, and I was signing off on the book.
Yeah.
And then all these friends of mine were all these people I knew from podcasting, present company included. They were all coming in, and they were all jumping in on the Twitch on the Twitch scene.
Yeah.
And I couldn't mention them because I was signing off on things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and I'll be the first one to say it. Writing books is hard.
Yeah, I can attest to that for sure.
But not as hard as attending MAGFest, because man, I closed my eyes when I got home and I slept hard.
Yeah.
Hard for an hour, and I finally forced myself out of bed, and I'm looking around like, where's Steve? Oh, he's probably napping too.
Yeah, I did the 20-minute power nap, and that was enough for me, but I could have slept a little bit longer if I wanted to.
I think what makes it different is that, if we had a hotel room at MAGFest, it'd probably be like, let's take a break. So next volume, exactly, or next edition, Shelley, absolutely. But I think, that ability of being able to just go to the room, decompress, just nap for however long, and then up and go. I mean, I know for a fact there have been several events where I've gone up to the room, napped for maybe half an hour, gotten up and I've hit it, and I'm going to like 2, 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that, but only if I'm staying at the con hotel.
Agreed.
Maybe I could be in denial.
I was thinking the same thing, because the times that I remember of MAGFest, I had to like take like those quick naps in the afternoon. I was like, that was the better way to go. And you're right. I think it's like when you don't have to go to the car and then drive back. It's just like when you like if you can stay at the hotel, or at least a hotel nearby.
And as we were saying last night, the reason I didn't stream this morning, chat, was because I wanted to get some sleep, because driving back from MAGFest yesterday, I was a mess. I thought I had it together, but then when I hit the traffic jam, I was like, oh crap, I'm feeling it. It's catching up.
We were both hurting.
Damn it, we were both hurting. So Steve, God love him, Steve was talking to me, but I was barely picking up what he was saying, and it was just like you would have thought we were drunk.
Yeah.
It was just like, I got a minute.
Somehow we had a cohesive conversation. We don't remember what it was.
No, but it was. I think Twitch was involved. I think we were talking about
like
strategies.
That. Yeah.
And it was all a blur. It was all a freaking blur.
Yeah.
But we got home safely. And we got home safely this time too. But I mean, it was like, I would dare say, the energy drink just gave me enough pep to get home. But man, it was, what happened this afternoon was not a good endorsement for that energy drink. Because you asked me, you said, do you think the energy drink is hitting you? And I said, I
you did that unironically too.
I did it unironically. I mean, it was an honest to God yawn, and I'm like, okay, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah,
with a yawn. I was being sincere.
Yeah.
And then I get home and it's like, well, I've had Monster Energy drink.
Time for a nap.
Time for a nap. And just good times, baby. Good times. So, we're gonna wrap it up because I think Pip wanted to watch Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yes.
I
want some more wine.
Well, yeah, you got to get some more wine.
Yeah.
I might even have another beer. But thanks everybody for. The Chainmail Nerd just pops in as we're getting ready to wrap up. Speaking of Balticon, Chainmail, the Chain Nerd right there. Yeah, Chainmail Nerd. He is sponsoring a. I don't want to call it a table anymore. It's more like a corner of the dealer's room. It's going to be Gus's chainmail wares, alongside his books, alongside my books, alongside Pip's books, alongside Lauren B. Harris's books, alongside a lot of good people's books. And so
it's like you're creating your own bazaar.
It does. It does. It is a chainmail literary bazaar.
Yeah.
And if you go to Balticon this year, we're going to be there. We're probably going to be talking about Twitch. We're probably going to be talking about podcasting, as we do. We're going to be talking about all these different things. You got to make sure you just make the time to come on out and come to Balticon. That is now back in the Baltimore area, and we will be there with Gus, with Aaron, with the entire Scooby Gang, and we're gonna have a good time. And that is on Memorial Day weekend, so make sure you make some time, chat. Make sure you come out for Balticon. But we are gonna wrap up this stream. We just finished talking about MAGFest, Gus. If you go back to the beginning of the stream, you'll be able to see us all talk about that. It is a conglomerate. It is a nerdy conglomerate. That's the best way to describe it. But on behalf of Steve, I'm T. I'm the T Monster. That's Steve, the Blind Gamer over there. We will be starting up very soon. We will be starting up once again. The Blind Leading the Blind. We'll actually be starting it next week.
Yeah.
Next week. Then we'll have to take a break because I'm going to be out of the country. And then when I get back from New Zealand, we'll be starting that up again.
Yes, sir.
So that's our plan. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the Blind Leading the Blind. It's going to be a joint stream with me and Steve Saylor, and I'm going to be starting to guide him through the Curse of Osiris, which is the first DLC for Destiny 2.
Yep.
And then we're going to move forward, and we're going to go. The mission is to get him up to Forsaken. So we'll see how that goes.
That's actually coming up like in a couple of days. That's this Tuesday, the 8th.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's coming
so
up soon.
it's
coming
gonna be
up
good.
real soon. As far as I'm going, you can see me here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. Eastern time. It's Sunday school where Old Man Morris sits behind mouse and keyboard and teaches himself mouse and keyboard. So if you want to laugh, you think it's funny watching the blind guy play Destiny, watch a 50-year-old try to teach himself mouse and keyboard. That's comedy gold right there, baby. Thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. We will see you all soon. Take care, everyone. We will talk to you soon. Good night.
Mic off.